characters in it. First of all, it has a prodigal son, it has a pouting son, and then it has a persistent father. You'll have a witness in here. And when I look at the text, I come to realize that your Father, our Father in heaven, he always knows best, and he always knows what to say at the moment to say it, and it will bring change in your life if you're willing to hear him and obey. Tell your neighbor, are you willing to obey God's voice? Y'all act like y'all kind of dead in here. You're going to talk back to me before I get out of here. Amen. You got to be willing to hear God's voice. And the response should be, I hear and I obey. You'll have witness in here. You know the story of the son who asked for his share of money and then takes off. The money is spent. He ends up feeding pigs. He returns home only to find his father waiting for him. But do you know what the story is really about? Because many people preach this in a different context. But what God is really saying in here, that leads us to our first point. The first thing is, God is concerned about your relationship with yourself. Tell your neighbor, do you have a relationship with yourself? Say that again. Do you have a relationship with yourself? Because getting you straight first is the most important thing. How can you get somebody else together when you are falling apart your own self? So the text says, first of all, I've got to get myself together, my relationship with myself first. I wish I had some help. Like the story of the prodigal son, he comes to a point in his life where he comes to, the text says, he came to himself. Are you praying here? And if he figures out his living in a pig pen when he could be living in a palace. He figures out he's living beneath his privilege when he could be living at the point of his privilege. He figures out he's living, if you will, on need more status when he could be living when I have more than enough. Wish I had some help in here. And if you had a choice, what choice would you choose to live above or to live beneath? I wish I had some prayers in here. If you had a choice, would you choose to live without or rather to live with it? I wish I had some help in here. And so this particular son, he figures something out. He comes to himself. And like all of us in this room, we have to make a point in our life when we come to ourselves and make a decision. I am tired of living the way that I'm living. I wish I had some help in here. I'm tired of struggling like I've been struggling, especially if it's by my own design. I'm not talking about by God's design, because sometimes God will send trials in your life. And he does not send trials to take strength out of us. He sends trials to put strength in us. So we'll know that he can help us through our trials. I'm talking about self-inflicted despair, self-inflicted opposition, self-inflicted depression. Are you tired of living in that place? Then tell your neighbor, just come to yourself. I wish I had some help with him. Just come to yourself. If you're tired of being in that place where it's causing you disease, discomfort, and dismay. You'll have a witness in here. And so the text declares to you and I that he came to himself. And I want to tell you now the story of the Bible. When God comes looking for Adam, he asks Adam a question in the garden. He says to Adam, where are you? And do you think God did not know where he was? You'll have a witness in here. Do you think that Adam had hidden himself so well that God could not find him? You'll have a witness in here. But God was asking Adam to do something, self-assessment. Wish I had some help in here. And where are you really today? Take a moment to really say, I'm going to do a self-examination. Am I really serving God like I ought to serve him? Oh, you got quiet on that, let me know on your street. Am I really praying like I ought to be praying? Am I really attending church like I ought to be attending church? Am I